Hello again, everyone. This is Mr. Owen, and today we're going to be looking at ancient Egyptian fashion and adornments of the body. Let's go ahead and get started with this tour.
Welcome to Ancient Egyptian Fashions.
Now, keep in mind that the majority of Egypt, other than the spots along the Nile River, is a desert region, so it is a very warm climate. So the adornments are going to be reflective of people that live in a very hot and arid area. So you're going to think of lighter clothing, stuff that's not going to retain too much heat, but also is pleasing to the eye.
Learning what life was like for ancient Egyptians presents many differences, and yet also surprising similarities to how people might live today. Understanding the daily lives of regular citizens so many thousands of years ago is ultimately what connects us as human beings.
Oh, look at that good boy right there. Oh, good doggo. So, as you might expect, as it is still true today, the amount of clothing and jewelry and the quality of it really depended on one's wealth and social status in ancient Egypt.
Jewelry was a popular item among ancient Egyptians of all social standing. Both men and women wore earrings, rings, and bracelets. Status determined how much jewelry a person wore and what it was made of. Common folk wore pearl necklaces, simple bracelets, and leather bangles. Brightly colored earthenware and glass paste were a favorite enhancement.
Now, not just for decorative purpose, but they also wore them for religious purposes. Some people wore jewelry known as amulets or charms that they believed would protect the wearer from harm.
The jewelry of the elite was made from gold, silver, and other precious stones. Because gold never lost its shine, it was considered akin to the flesh of the gods. Wide jeweled collars were a favorite. Made with rows of beads formed into patterns of animals or flowers, the soft chiming sounds they made were thought to appease the gods.
Now let's look more at the fabrics and cloths used by the ancient Egyptians.
Though idealized, tomb paintings are a catalog of the changing fashions of ancient Egypt from the Old to the New Kingdom. Egyptians took appearance and cleanliness very seriously and were diligent about their fashion, hair, and jewelry, as well as their grooming habits.
So appearance and cleanliness is very important in Egyptian culture. Surprising, you might think that, ancient times maybe they weren't as clean or concerned about their looks, but just as many cultures around the world today are obsessed with it, including our own, so were the ancient Egyptians.
The fabric of ancient Egyptian clothing was almost entirely made from various grades of linen. Linen was commonly white, draped over the body, and cinched at the waist, though some garments were sewn or tailored. Wealthy men wore long tunics, loincloths, or kilts, while poor men only wore loincloths. Women wore long dresses, with differences residing in the quality of the fabric, depending on social status. Egyptians commonly went barefoot, but could also wear sandals made from papyrus fiber or leather.
Now, those that had more wealth could afford the more colorful clothing that was dyed, because dyes to add color to the white linen were quite expensive.
Cosmetics, including concoctions to prevent body odor and bad breath, were an integral part of everyday life for Egyptians. Used by both men and women, cosmetics were used as moisturizing ointments and sun protection as much as for beautification. Red ochre, a natural clay, was the most readily available cosmetic to tint lips and cheeks. Henna was used on nails and lips, and as hair coloring. It was also favored by richer women to decorate their palms and the soles of their feet.
So even in ancient times, they had a variety of makeup and cosmetics for adding color and accentuating the various facial features, and as a moisturizer, as you might expect, would be very useful in a hot, dry climate.
Egyptians believed kohl had magical powers, wearing it as black eyeliner to protect their eyes from the sun and to prevent eye infections from particles in the flooded Nile River. A special green kohl, made from ground malachite, was worn for ceremonies and religious rituals.
This is why you might see a lot of depictions of ancient Egyptians. It looks like they have really dark, like black eyeliner, because it is that coal that served both a cosmetic but also a useful purpose in protecting them against the sun and against the blowing sands of ancient Egypt. So we're going to do a little hop over here and get past this bowl that hopefully is still friendly as I walk by, and get a little more into the various styles of men and women, but specifically children, of ancient Egypt.
Women and teenage girls wore their hair long and often braided. Wealthier women included carved combs or hairpins. The length of men's hair rarely dropped past the shoulders. They were mostly clean-shaven during the dynastic period, a trend began by the elite and soon adopted by the general populace. Queen Hatshepsut donned an artificial beard when she became pharaoh.
So hairstyles of the Egyptians still kind of common for what we think of today as hairstyles. Longer hair for women, shorter for men, usually not going past their shoulders, and men, in those times at least, mostly clean-shaven.
Wigs were very popular, used for special occasions or to conceal gray hair or baldness. They were fastened in place with beeswax. The most expensive wigs were made from human hair and reserved for royalty. Other wigs were composed of linen, wool, or animal hair.
Even the Egyptians were concerned about hiding their gray hairs or their balding heads, and did so through wigs that were dyed and styled to disguise that.
Prepubescent children generally had their heads shaved. Young girls kept some strands intact, while young boys had a braid worn on the side.
A little different than you boys today with your shaggy hair that covers your eyes, having their head mostly shaved in those cases. But this wraps up our tour of ancient Egyptian cosmetics, clothing, and fashion. Hope you learned some new information and enjoy the tour. And as always, we'll see you all next time.